Hi, I'm Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to What's Going On in Town Government. It has been such a busy week. We had a, what would you say, medium-sized selectmen's meeting this week. Got a lot of business done. So for our summer visitors, we have a very active town government. And we are governed by a 5-member Board of Selectmen that is sort of the executive of the town, and I am their manager for the town government. And the board meets generally weekly. However, in the summer, the board meets twice a month in June, July, and August. So we are currently on our summer schedule. We do not have a meeting for the next 2 weeks, but we had a meeting this week. At our meeting this week, we had a somewhat lengthy discussion about temporary banners on Main Street. That took a little bit longer than I thought.
That was interesting.
That was interesting. And
what happened?
Well, I don't even know if I can capture exactly what happened, but to make a long story short, a few years ago, a group wanted to put up some banners on Main Street to commemorate a festival, and I think it was the Arts Festival or something like that. And it's sort of, other groups, I guess, it caught their attention and they thought, oh, we want to do some banners too. So we started getting a bit of an increase in these requests for banners, and they need to go to the HDC and be approved there. And then groups started advertising sort of their events, their fundraising events, or wanted to do that. So to make a kind of a long story slightly shorter, the board adopted a revised policy somewhere around 2015. And at the time, it was not a unanimous vote. There was a bit of discussion about whether or not this might be opening up the floodgates to banners. And I don't know if the floodgates have been opened, but we have seen an increase in requests. So this week, the board said, maybe we went too far with that policy. Maybe we need to rein it back in a bit. So there was a group that was coming in for banners, Nantucket Preservation Trust, to commemorate their 20th anniversary, but they also rather clearly advertised on the banner an antiques show. So that was of concern to some board members and maybe others. Anyway, they approved the NPT request, but said there's a moratorium on further requests until we get the policy more worked out.
Good idea.
Yep. I mean, a thing like this you would think is, I don't know, straightforward or doesn't need to be talked about for hours on end, but it does, I guess. But also, there's more to it. So
now, these
some
banners
groups
go on the light posts,
okay,
right?
so here's the thing. Where do the banners go? And how do they get hung up? And are there fasteners already there to hang them up? Who takes them down? So there's apparently some groups hang them up and take them down themselves, but other groups thought the town did that. So the town does not do that, but now I'm thinking maybe we need to designate these specific light poles and put up the fasteners so that we don't have to get more involved than we need to.
But there's a moratorium though.
But there's a moratorium right now, so I'm not going to worry about it at the moment. We also had a couple of public hearings for telephone petitions. We had a little bit of real estate matters to address. The Nantucket Pond Coalition, headed by Bob Williams, came in and gave an update on their activities. It was very interesting. He did a little video. We had a couple of traffic safety recommendations, which also one of them generated some discussion.
What was that?
Had to do with Ash Street. And some people have evidently purchased a property that has a fairly new curb cut for a driveway, and now they find that it's difficult to back out of the driveway or pull in the driveway if there's a car on the other side of the street.
But
so
what happened?
Well, it ended up getting tabled, and traffic safety is supposed to go back and review if a no parking sign could be moved a little to allow a little more space for parking so that we're not eliminating more than one parking space.
So there's 2 parking places right there now, and that if we put it in, then
they would go away.
Right.
So the board is not ever very enthusiastic about removing parking spaces. So basically, I think we're going to try to look a little harder at how to remove fewer parking spaces. The other thing that we talked about is that when these curb cuts are made, there needs to be more of an engineering review of the impact of the turning radius on, is it going to impact parking spaces? And if it is, then maybe they need to figure something else out.
Well,
so that we don't
what about
lose the parking
smaller
spots.
cars? If you're
Or-
gonna have a house on Nantucket.
or smaller
you get
cars.
a smaller car.
Well,
You don't use a big Range Rover.
or bigger.
Exactly.
So some people have, stuff and kids and they need bigger cars, I guess, and anyway. So that was a bit of discussion. And then we had discussion about the November 6th, 2017 special town meeting warrant and the articles that are likely to go on the warrant. The board has not decided specifically what articles, they have not adopted the warrant yet. This is all preliminary discussion leading up to the adoption of the warrant, which is scheduled for August 23rd. And the biggest discussion has to do with recreational and retail marijuana establishments and where they can be located. So there's been a lot of legislative activity as of late this week on this throughout at the State House. And it sounded to me like the board is probably going to put a zoning article on that will restrict where a retail marijuana establishment, a retail, you can sell it, can be located. There are also a number of regulations that the board will be considering at a later time because right at the moment the state has not completely issued the guidance that cities and towns need to adopt regulations, is my understanding. We have not finished discussing
So
this.
they should probably wait till that finishes before they
Yes,
decide.
and
shouldn't
I think we're going to know about that pretty
they? Because
shortly.
the town's we're having a special town meeting about this too.
Yes,
So
right.
the people will speak.
The people will speak. We're also going to probably have a supplemental appropriation for the fire station project and some other zoning articles and some real estate. I'm sure there will be some citizens warrant articles. The citizen warrant article deadline is next Friday, July 28th at 4 o'clock. You need the signatures of 100 registered voters. We always advise people to get a little bit more than that because sometimes, believe it or not, people don't realize they are not actually registered voters.
They are checked.
Yes, they are. We also talked about the 2018 annual town meeting timeline, which is fairly similar to the 2017 timeline. The 2018 annual town meeting is scheduled for Monday, April 3rd, so mark that on your calendar. We had a request on the Finance Committee months ago for the board to consider undertaking a population study. And since then, Remain has taken on, not exactly a population study, but it sounded like they're calling it the Nantucket Data Project. And the idea is that they gather data in a number of areas, including population, that might be helpful for different groups and associations, potentially including the town, to base certain types of decisions on. Some business decisions, but some maybe municipal decisions.
That seems like a business that they're developing.
Well,
Is that correct?
it does seem like a business they're developing, and and potentially it sounded like the town might be able to benefit from it in some ways. We also awarded the 6 Fairgrounds Road Workforce Housing Project proposal to a developer called Hall Keene Management. And to make a long story short, we've been talking about this for over a year now, and we did a very thorough request for proposals process in accordance with Mass Procurement Law, and had 3 developers that met the criteria. They all gave presentations before a pretty large group, and all of the proposals were ranked in a very methodical fashion, and we ended up with Hall Keene. So the next step will include negotiating a long-term lease with them and a land development agreement with them, and that will include various conditions and provisions that lay out how we want them to develop the property.
Okay, so we don't know how we're doing it yet.
Well, we know a few things. We know the basic framework. There will be 64 units They will have to provide parking. Already, though, we think the parking is probably not sufficient, so that will probably have to be reconfigured a bit. There are a specific number of affordable units, a specific number of market rate units. The idea is that the affordable units go on the town's subsidized housing inventory. And there's the management of the property that needs to be addressed. How is it going to be specifically managed? All that kind of thing.
This is town-owned.
It's town-owned. We are leasing it to the developer, for long-term lease.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
So
And
they have to
they
make
will
their
have-
cut.
Yep.
They have to make their cut.
They do, because they have to make it work.
All right. I took Jerry Adams out for a drive around.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it just started. And we talked about how to retain these important people that we need to have here on the island.
Mm-hmm.
And one important issue is housing.
Yes.
And that, when someone's new and they come out to Nantucket with their family, in most towns, they might buy a small house realizing that it may increase in value as they stay. They can't buy a house that's going to increase in value because they can't afford to buy it in the first place. So he and I both agreed that teachers, police officers, firemen, they really got to have a good place to stay.
Yes.
That attracts good quality person
I
to come out here
agree.
with his family. Would some of those houses that we're going to build be for those people?
Potentially. We're also talking about, there's some land along the fronting Old South, fronting Fairgrounds Road and fronting Tacoma Way that is not part of this current project right at the moment. I forgot to turn my phone off.
Okay, it's
That
not.
distracted me for a minute. See what happens when you leave
Yeah,
the phone on?
right.
They're not part of the development of this project, which we have talked about. Perhaps we do a different RFP. I mean, one of the ideas is we do a different RFP that is more individual, standalone houses. Maybe more than one on a lot, possibly, but not necessarily a duplex for that kind of employee. That it might not work for them to be in units, in a multi-unit facility with their whole family when their employees might be all around them, kind of a thing.
Right. Of
Sometimes
course.
that doesn't work well.
Exactly, that's a good point.
Anyway, so yeah, it's
So that's down the road.
that's down the road a bit.
Yeah, that's a
but
good one.
yeah. So what? Other things that are happening. I hope I'm allowed to say this because now I'm not really sure I am. So maybe I better not.
Oh, no.
I know you can't ever start something like that, can you?
God.
I always get so mad when people do that.
Oh.
Okay, we're having special guests today. I'm so excited about it. I'm gonna blurt it out. All right, I'm gonna blurt it out.
Okay.
The Lieutenant Governor's gonna be here today. Yes.
Is that-
She is.
Oh,
Karen Polito.
what is she
So
coming for?
excited. I believe there may be a fundraiser for her and the governor, but she's going to spend some
Okay.
time with municipal officials this afternoon talking about projects. We're going to thank for some funding that we got for a couple of different things. And, just from time to time, the lieutenant governor and the governor get around to the cities and towns in the state, and they very much want to hear from them about problems, issues, what can they help with, if they can help, that kind of thing. So we're going to spend some time doing that this afternoon. I am so excited. Maybe the governor will be there too. I don't know, hopefully, but
Okay.
I'm excited.
Okay.
I hope she remembers me. She probably doesn't. She and I signed together, side by side, at a podium in Barnstable Town Hall, our community compact agreement. Community compact is something that the Baker-Polito administration has developed to provide funds to cities and towns up to there's a bit of a limit to help them with certain sort of technical things. For example, ours was for the development and updating of our financial management policies. And when we went to, so they have a little ceremony where they gather together towns in the region that have signed on, and they do a signing ceremony. And I got a pen.
Oh, she's going to remember you.
Yeah, probably not. But I do still have the pen. I'm never gonna let it go. And anyway, what else is going on? Oh, tomorrow morning, well, this probably won't be on, but tomorrow morning we're having our third neighborhood gathering in anticipation of the Nantucket Harbor Shimo Plus project, Plus area sewer extension project. We're meeting with the Shimo group. We've met with two of the other neighborhood groups, and tomorrow morning is Shimo.
Where do you meet them?
We are meeting them in the training in the community room at the Public Safety Building,
Yeah.
and we're going to answer questions. We've sent out a lot of information and put a lot of information in the paper, but people always have questions because, people, it's human nature. They sometimes don't pay attention to things unless they have begun to realize it is going to directly affect them. Okay, next week, as mentioned, no BOS meeting. We are actively starting to get together our capital project review process for the coming fiscal year, as well as our budget process. Even though we just started this year's budget, we're already looking at next year's. And there's just lots of stuff going on. The whales is a big thing around here. You've seen them?
I haven't seen any whales.
You haven't?
No.
Everybody else has.
I
haven't
guess I'm
either.
not spending enough time at the beach.
No, I haven't seen the
I
whales
was just
either.
there last
Because I've been
night.
to the beach like 3 times so far. That's it. I got to get out there to look at them. But
Where are they?
I don't really want to take over some other agency's issue, but they're off the South Shore.
Yeah.
I guess there's some Facebook,
Okay.
things about them. I'm told they're between Tom Nevers and maybe Ladies Beach-ish.
Okay.
It's a pretty big
They're
area
just
there.
hanging out there, huh?
I've had people say they've gone to Fisherman's Beach and they can see them spouting and frolicking. They're not, I don't know what they're doing out there, moving around
Yeah,
without binoculars.
that's nice.
And
To be having that close.
but the issue is boats, some of these I guess are right whales, endangered.
Are they?
Can't
Wow.
get, you
No,
have to be a
can't.
certain distance from them, and I
That's
guess there
right.
are some pretty hefty fines. And you don't want to bother them.
No.
Just look at them from afar.
You got it.
Get some binoculars. That's what I'm going to hope to do. What else are you hearing? Hearing anything? Okay, I'm going to mention
of course I'm
something.
hearing.
I'm going to mention something. Last week, the town, more than one department, got some phone calls from people out on Russell's Way.
Brussels.
Apparently, numerous bags of trash were just left on the side of the road out there. Now, Russell's Way is a private road, so there was some amount of internal back and forth about who's going to go out and get these trash bags. Got resolved in the end, and the Nantucket Conservation Foundation went out. Thank you very much for doing that. They do have property out there, and they went right out and got it. They had to sort it all, and it was a mess.
I hope they've got some letters.
They
Did they find out who
searched through the trash, and I guess there were not very many identifying items. However, there were a couple. So I've asked that we pass that along to the police department and we follow up, because we're talking something like 16 bags of trash, not just a couple bags of trash, 16. Who does that? And
Yeah.
why would you do that? It's
I
inexplicable.
know
to
you've
me.
got a trash thing. I've got
I do
one
have a
too.
trash thing.
I have mine. It's about sharing the road with cars, sharing the road with bicyclists. A friend of mine was in Wisconsin, riding his bike on the road, or in Pulpus area, because
Yeah.
when you ride your bike there,
So he's like a bike rider.
he's a real bike rider.
Yeah.
You can't be on the bike path
Right.
because you could hurt someone.
Right, right.
So this guy ran him off the road,
Oh,
forced him
happens.
to stop, and wanted to fight him.
Wanted
Okay.
to fight him.
Wanted to fight him because he was taking over the road.
Wow.
Okay, and the cops came.
Oh my
A
goodness.
summer special came, but didn't get the license plate number from the guy, and he took off.
Wow.
So we have to be, and I've noticed that people are driving, a lot of out-of-staters drive like they're on the mainland.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? You can see the license plate?
Yes, I
Yeah.
have noticed that. Okay, so let's take this opportunity to say the phrase that you might see on a bumper sticker, what's your hurry? You're already on Nantucket.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Yeah.
I know it's difficult and I need to calm myself down from time to time, but our streets are very narrow, many of them. There are a lot of bikers, there are a lot of pedestrians, and we all need to look out for each other. And the bikers who ride along, I know some people have a thing about that, but they can't go on the bike path, and they go
Not
on the
out
road.
there they can't.
No, so just deal with it and
Right.
deal with it, I guess I would say.
Right.
They probably are almost going faster than you. And if they're not, you wait for your opportunity to safely pass them. Just,
This guy had a small car apparently too, a Mini Cooper.
oh,
I mean,
What color
with a
was
little
it?
car, I think white, convertible.
oh, now we're getting closer to identifying some.
Oh yeah, I think I know where he works too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well, maybe
we
you-
won't go that far.
We won't go that far. In any event, please don't dump your trash. We really try to keep our island clean, and we don't need, I mean, I can't even imagine who would do something like that. They should be prosecuted to the fullest extent possible, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm sure of many other people's opinions too. So be clean and be careful
And safe.
and safe and calm. Clean, careful, calm.
Nice.
There we go. We could turn that into some kind of a slogan.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you very much. See you next time.